So, you're at a crossroads with your project. You need to pick its next home. And that choice isn't just some technical detail, it's about laying the foundation for all the growth you're planning for. Are you going to go with the flexible power of a VPS, or do you need the raw, unadulterated force of a dedicated server? Well, let's figure that out together. And hey, first off, you should be proud of that. It means you've built something that people want. Your traffic is climbing, you've got more and more users, your presence online is really starting to make waves. This is, without a doubt, the best kind of problem to have.
Because here's the flip side of all that success. It brings pressure. Those little slowdowns you used to see during peak hours, they're not so little anymore, are they? You start to worry every time you hit a new traffic spike, wondering if your current setup is going to buckle. This is a huge turning point.
Okay, so when you've outgrown basic shared hosting, your first logical step up is almost always a virtual private server, a VPS. Think of it like this. You're moving out of a noisy, crowded apartment building and into your very own condo. Yeah, you're still in the same main building, but you have your own private space you can do whatever you want with. Now, the magic that makes all of this possible is a technology called virtualization. It is such a clever way of doing things. You take one giant, super powerful physical server and you slice it up into several smaller, completely separate virtual servers. Each one thinks and acts like it's its own independent machine, even though behind the scenes, they're all sharing the same piece of hardware. And this is exactly why VPS hosting is so incredibly popular. First, you get isolated resources. That means your neighbor's massive traffic spike won't slow you down one bit. You get full root access, so you can install and configure custom software. It's also super easy to scale. Just a few clicks and you've got more power. And you get all of this at a price point that makes a ton of sense. All right, now let's talk about the next level app, the ultimate upgrade. If a VPS is like buying a condo, then dedicated hosting, well, that's like hiring an architect and building your dream house from the ground up. It's all yours, no compromises, no neighbors, period. And that right there is the core idea. It's so simple but so powerful. There's no sharing, there's no virtualization layer, no partitions. It is one physical machine, the CPU, the memory, the storage, and it is 100% dedicated to you and your project. All of its horsepower is yours to command. So what does having this whole machine to yourself actually get you? Well, you get absolutely unmatched performance because every last cycle of the processor belongs to you. You get maximum security because your entire environment is completely private. And you get total customization to build the exact server setup your project needs. This quote really just nails it. A dedicated server isn't just about having more power. It's a strategic move you make when your project's performance becomes absolutely non-negotiable. It's for when you need to know for sure that you have all the resources you need all the time. Okay, so we've got two fantastic options on the table. One is flexible and affordable. The other is an absolute powerhouse. Now let's put them side by side and really get into the nitty-gritty of the trade-offs. So, if you strip everything else away, this is the fundamental difference. With a VPS, you have your own private virtual server, but it's running on shared physical hardware. With dedicated, both the hardware and the server are 100% private to you. Let's dig into how this plays out. Performance? VPS is great. It's high and flexible, but dedicated is just on another level. Unmatched and rock-solid consistent. Security is strong on both, but dedicated gives you maximum control because the whole box is yours. Now, scalability is a huge difference maker. It's incredibly easy to scale up a VPS. With dedicated hardware, it takes a bit more planning, and that of course brings us to cost. A VPS is your affordable step up, while a dedicated server is a much higher, more strategic investment. All right, we've seen the tech, we've weighed the pros and cons. Now for the most important part, figuring out which of these solutions fits your project. Let's map this all back to your needs so you can make the right call. Let's start with that flexible powerhouse. What does the ideal person or project for a virtual private server actually look like? A VPS is really the perfect home for projects that are on the upswing. We're talking about that website that's finally getting too big for shared hosting, or that e-commerce store that just cannot afford to slow down during a big sale, or for developers who need a reliable, affordable sandbox to build and launch their next big idea. It's the perfect engine for growth. Okay, so on the flip side of that, who is it that needs to take that big leap, to go all in on their own private, dedicated powerhouse? This is for the heavy hitters. We're talking about mission-critical applications where even a minute of downtime is a disaster. It's for huge, high-traffic websites that need to be lightning fast for every single user, no matter what. And it's for any project where having absolute, total control over your security and environment is the #1 priority.
So, how do you know when it's really time to make a move? Well, look for these telltale signs. 1. Your site slows to a crawl every time you get a rush of visitors. 2. You keep getting those dreaded emails that you're hitting the resource limits of your plan. 3. You need to install some custom software that your current host just doesn't allow. And 4, this is the big one, your project's performance is now directly tied to your income or your reputation. If that's you, it's time. And really, that brings us to the final, most critical question you should be asking yourself. Is your setup built for where your project is today, or for where you want it to be tomorrow? The right hosting choice isn't just about handling your current traffic. It's about building a foundation that is ready for all the success you're working so hard to achieve.